Welcome to the Art Training Tutorial Series. This series will take you through the creation of 3 basic art reports. In this third video, you will learn how to create a basic cost reimbursable sponsored report. Let's get started. To access ART, you will need to go to the URL www.art.ahc.umn.edu and use your X.500 information to log in. If you don't already have access, you can request it by contacting AHC. Once you have logged in, you will be taken to this opening screen, which defaults to Sponsored. Enter the project number for the award you will be reporting on. After you have entered your project number, hit Submit. Once you hit Submit, you will be taken to this chart string information page. Important items to note on this page are the start and end dates in addition to the calendar year of the report. For sponsored reports, the reporting time frame will depend on your reporting needs. The start and end dates highlighted here will default to the start and end dates of the award, but depending on your reporting needs, you may wish to change this to reflect project periods, extension, or other items. Note, if you only report bi-monthly, notes can be pulled forward from the prior month by going back 1 month and selecting the Submit button, and then selecting the current month and selecting the Submit button again. When you are done adjusting items on your chart string information page, select Submit. Once you hit the Submit button, you will be taken to this notice. Select OK to continue. You will be taken back to the chart string information page, where you can adjust your reporting time frame or month at any time during the creation of your art report. We will now go through the various entry screens available for a cost reimbursable sponsored report. The first option, chart string information, is the screen we are currently on. You can go back to it at any time to update the reporting time frame, month, or year. The next entry screen available is the transaction reconciliation screen. The transaction reconciliation screen brings up all the transactions for the time frame of your report. You then have the option to use the checkboxes to mark off transactions as reconciled. This can be helpful if you want to verify that you have receipts on hand or verify certain spending trends. Note, none of the transactions you check off will be reflected in your final reports. Thus, the option to use this feature is up to you or your department or division's needs. The Transactions Reconciliation screen is the first entry screen where you can begin to enter PI notes. It is important to remember the difference between the Notes field and the PI Notes field. Notes entered to the Notes field will be permanently saved with the report record, and the notes entered to the PI Notes field are the notes that will appear on the printout of your report. As with all art reports, sponsored and non-sponsored, the option to use the Notes field is up to you and your reporting needs. Once you have finished looking over and marking any reconciled transactions, and making any adjustments or updates to your notes, you can save the updates you've made by hitting the Submit button. You will know your information has been saved successfully when the Transaction Data Successfully Saved box appears. Press OK to continue. You will be taken back to the Transaction Reconciliation screen, where you can navigate to the next entry screen. Next, we will look at the Budget Adjustment entry screen. On the Budget Adjustment screen, you have the opportunity to update the budget information that will appear on your report. The information that automatically appears on this screen is pulled through from PeopleSoft and is displayed in the current EFS budget column. The numbers entered into the manual carry forward and budget adjustment columns are added together. with the EFS budget column to create the budget that will appear on your report, which is the dollar amount circled here. Numbers that appear in the most recent open budget period column are those that have been entered into PeopleSoft but have not yet been picked up in ART. To have these numbers reflected in your report, you must enter them to the budget adjustment column. Once you have finished making all of the necessary adjustments to your report's budget, you can adjust any notes that might have been affected by the budget, or as demonstrated here, you could add a permanent note for this report by using the Notes field as mentioned earlier. When this entry screen is then saved, this note will permanently remain with this report. When you select Save Changes, you will be given verification that the changes you have made have saved successfully. Select OK to continue. You will then be taken back to the Budget Adjustment screen. And as you can see here, the note that was entered to the Notes field has now permanently been saved to this report. Next, we will look at the Payroll Encumbrances entry screen. The Payroll Encumbrances entry screen pulls in salary information for all employees who have salary through the most recent reporting period. In the case of this report, this means anyone with salary through the end of December 2014. Any new employee with salary after December 2014 will not be reflected until the next reporting cycle. Therefore, if you need to add projections for an employee who is not yet listed, you will need to use the To Be Determined or TBN row on the correct account code for that new employee. For example, if we needed to add a temp worker to these projections, we can place the anticipated cost in the manual adjustment column. Note how the fringe column is automatically updated when a manual salary adjustment is made. However, for this report, we don't need a temp worker to be projected, so we will remove it. Lastly, on the Payroll Encumbrances entry screen, you have the ability to select ART encumbrances highlighted here. This option will automatically adjust the PeopleSoft encumbrances that are automatically populated to match the entire budget time frame of your report. This can be useful in certain cases, such as a no-cost extension not yet reflected in PeopleSoft, since the ART encumbrances option will automatically update the salaries listed to reflect this end date change, provided you have entered the end date into your reporting time frame. Once you have finished making your adjustments, select Save Changes. You will be told your payroll data has saved successfully. Select OK to continue. You will be taken back to the Payroll Encumbrance entry screen. Lastly, we will look at the Other Encumbrances entry screen. The Other Commitments screen allows you to adjust non-payroll encumbrances and add open period expenses and encumbrances to your report that have not yet been reflected in ART. Note, this entry screen is the only location in ART listing year-to-date detail by expense revenue account codes, and summary reports will roll up to the year-to-date activity and display by budget-only account codes. Thus, to see this detail in your reports, you will need to pull detail expense or revenue reports for a specific time frame. In most cases, when using the Other Commitments entry screen, you will update the projected expense adjustment column to reflect the items listed in the most recent open period expense revenue column, such as we are doing here. Since it is only when you add the expenses listed in the most recent open period column to the projected expense adjustment column that they will be reflected in your reports. For this report, there is also a new expense which has not yet been pulled into the most recent open period expense and revenue column. Therefore, to reflect it in the projections, I must add the correct account code to the new account code row, in addition to the anticipated dollar amount. Once these changes have been made, select Save Changes to save them to your report. You will be told that your other commitments data has saved successfully. Press OK to continue. You will be taken back to the Other Commitments entry screen. Note how the newly entered account item is now reflected here. Lastly, on the Other Encumbrances entry screen, there is the option to prorate items. See checkboxes highlighted here. Prorating items using these checkboxes can be useful if you have a regularly occurring expense not reflected in any of the PeopleSoft encumbrances that you would like to have reflected in your report projections. The prorate option can be useful for expenses such as regularly occurring travel or technology costs. Note, with any of the entry screens, you can continue to make adjustments to your notes, anticipated expenses, etc., such as we are doing here, and save the entry screen information as many times throughout the process until you are satisfied with the information being projected and are ready to start running reports to be saved. Once you are finished with your entry screen adjustments, you can begin running reports from any of the entry screens by going to the Reports tab. For the purposes of this demonstration, we will pull a standard basic report set for a sponsored project. This will include a summary report, a payroll report, and an expense detail report. Note, depending on your department or division's needs, your report set may be different, and a complete list of reports available in ART is available on the ART training page. We will start with a project sponsored account report. Once selected, a summary overview report for your project will appear. For the purposes of this demonstration, we will combine our report pieces into a single PDF file using the Print to PDF option. Note, these reports can also be manually printed depending on your reporting needs. When using the Print to PDF option, you will want to be sure to save your file to an easy-to-locate location, such as an electronic account folder for a PI. Once the file is saved, we will go back to the ART web page. Next, we will create a payroll report for this project. Once selected, your payroll report will appear. As with this summary report, we will save this file to PDF. Once saved, we will combine our payroll PDF file with our summary report PDF file. Combining these two PDF files can be done in a number of ways. Here, we will drag and drop one file to combine it with the other. When we are done, we will return to the ART web page. The last report we will create is an expense transaction report. Go to Transaction Report and select Expense Variable. We will now need to select the reporting time frame for our report. For our purposes, we only need the last 2 months, though the reporting time frame can be adjusted to fit your reporting needs and can be as small as a month and as large as a fiscal year or more. Once you are done selecting your reporting timeframe, select Search to generate your transaction report. Your report will be generated and can be saved along with your summary and payroll reports. Once saved, this report can be combined with your summary and payroll reports to create a complete report set file. This complete file can then be sent via email to a project PI or administrator depending on your division or department's needs. This concludes the basic cost reimbursable sponsored art training demonstration. Please visit the art training page to view other training sessions or to learn more about the various tools and reports art has available.